this video, I'm going to go over all of the trends that I have seen with 13,000 case studies when it comes to putting on muscle, basically getting the most bang for your buck when you're in the gym. That is 13,000 people that I have worked with first or second hand in the last 8 years. Whether you have literally been working out for forever, maybe you even invented working out, or if your first day in the gym is tomorrow, I guarantee you will learn something new from this video. At the end of the video, we'll go over everything you need to know in order to achieve the body composition that you desire. First, we have to talk about goals. Everybody has different goals. So in order for this to be helpful, we have to establish what is the end goal we have in mind. So this video and this methodology is directed at the people who want to look good all year round without sacrificing the things that they love in life while optimizing their time so they don't have any diminishing returns. Bulking and cutting is not great for your hormones. Let me say it again for those in the back. Bulking and cutting are not great for your hormones. So if you're interested in taking exogenous hormones, TRT, gear, HGH, Dianabol, there's so many things. I can't really help you optimize your hormones and your body composition with this methodology. If you're someone who's not doing any of those things, or perhaps you did and now you need to boost your natural testosterone, I went through that, then this will be very helpful. So my second point of context before we get into the meat of it. If you are following a bodybuilding program, but you're not a bodybuilder, why are you doing that? Now, if you aspire to be a bodybuilder and you're not yet, that's great. If your goal isn't to go through these cuts and bulks, caloric restriction that have long-lasting detriments, why would you put yourself through that? If you want to be functionally fit, you don't necessarily need to do any of that. You can get muscle hypertrophy, a great looking body composition, and many more benefits without following a bodybuilding split. This same concept should be applied across the board, whether it's CrossFitters, professional athletes, all kinds of people whose lives revolve around getting these amazing physiques and having these stellar performance outputs. I'm not saying that we shouldn't praise these things and they're not commendable, they're awesome. But if you are somebody and that's not literally your job, it can really be detrimental to try to do that and everything else that you want in your life. There's another caveat here, and that's with genetics. Genetics do have a role in these things, but if you feel like you don't have good genetics, you didn't just draw a bad hand. You can actually influence genetic expression based off of diet and lifestyle, and we'll talk about how to do that from the gym perspective. So if you're a normal person who is focused on career, friendships, romantic relationships, balance, stress management, but you also want to have the best body that you've ever had, good news, you can do all of it. Before I go over all of the things that you should be doing based off of the 13,000 case studies I've seen, I'm going to tell you about my personal journey and how I learned all this the hard way. When I was younger, I didn't have very much muscle. I started off super skinny. I was doing soccer, cross country, lots of camping. That was all great, and there was nothing wrong with that. But I was always super self-conscious. I didn't think women found me attractive, and I definitely didn't have much muscle mass. So by the end of high school, although I was 6 foot almost, I was like 145 pounds soaking wet. So I was hell-bent on putting on muscle, which is what led me to my first couple of experiments. Those were things like following Arnold Schwarzenegger's bodybuilding encyclopedia. Those were things like 5x5 program, German volume training, and traditional bro splits or bodybuilder splits. They didn't really yield the results I wanted. Yes, I put on a lot of muscle, but I didn't really have a functional body composition. I was also puffier, more inflamed, and heavier than I wanted to be. In an effort to find that happy medium where I was stronger and bigger, but also lean, I tried a few other things. CrossFit, Olympic lifting, Kino body, calisthenics / plyometrics, TRX band workouts, and more. You get it. Point is, these functional movements or resistance training / functional movement hybrids helped me a ton, but there was still something missing. I realized that I was overtraining, and I see this a ton. With these 13,000 case studies, most of these people were also overtraining. They weren't doing too little. They were actually doing too much. So I'm going to show you what I looked like when I was doing too much. I was eating less calories than I am now. My testosterone was lower. My recovery time was longer. My output in each workout was significantly less. I wasn't nearly as functionally fit. And as you can tell, I was way heavier, way more inflamed. Now at my peak, I was eating way more calories. I was really just happier in general. My sleep was much better. My testosterone had gone up. And after all of these experiments, which also included pre and post workout meals and meal timing and all this kind of thing, after 14 years, I finally hit my peak physique. So how did I do it? I did it the same way that I coach people on doing it now, how I always push people to start, because you just get the most bang for your buck. So how do we do 20% of the work to get 80% of the results? First things, hormones are key. If you are not supporting your natural hormone production through various lifestyle and diet implementations, you're missing a ton. Yes, I know this is outside of the gym, but these things can make a world of a difference. If you're not sure where to start, I have a free ebook on exactly that. I'll put it in the description of this video. I will also be making videos on this topic specifically in the future. Getting to the nitty-gritty, frequency is one of the first things that you should think about once you have gotten the basics of diet and lifestyle down and you're optimizing your hormones. And that is frequency of activity each week in the gym. Ideally, you should be working out every major muscle group 2 to 3 times a week. What are major muscle groups? I'm sorry, biceps, triceps, Kegel muscles. These are not your primary muscle groups. Hitting movements like push, pull, and legs will cover all your primary muscle groups and your secondary and your tertiary and all, what do bodybuilders call them nowadays? I literally forgot. Oh, accessories. If you were trying to put on muscle and be functionally fit and have an amazing body composition, you don't need to worry about that. Each time that you're in the gym, those 2 to 3 times a week, you need 1 push movement, 1 pull movement, and 1 leg movement. Sure, you can add on a movement or 2 of accessories if you feel like you're not hitting something, or maybe that you're recovering from an injury, or there's a sport where that movement helps. That's great. But the 20% of the work for 80% of the results is push, pull, legs, compound, multi-joint movements. Time of day is a tough one when it comes to this because everyone has different preferences. But what I've seen for the grand majority of people is that earlier in the day is better. And it's not necessarily that you get more out of your workout. It's just that you should be eating so much post-workout. So if you push your workout to late in the day and you're eating a lot before bed, your sleep will be affected. Testosterone will be affected negatively. So my suggestion is work out either first thing in the morning or midday. If you don't have the flexibility to do that because of commitments, work, what have you, then try to execute your workout as early in the evening as possible. Now, the length of your workout should only be 45 minutes to an hour. You do not need to be in the gym for an hour and a half. In fact, your natural testosterone will actually end up lower at an elongated workout as opposed to like at 45 minutes and leaving. It'll end on a higher note. Which brings me to my next point. You should be leaving something in the tank. I know. What? We're not supposed to go 100% all out in every workout? Absolutely not. Your adrenals, your thyroid, your recovery time, your libido, your sleep quality, your mental clarity, everything will thank you if you don't overdo it in workouts. What I like to tell my clients and what I practice myself is leaving 2 reps in the tank on every set. This is for multiple reasons. One, if you can't get a solid, clean rep up, you are probably overexerting. You're more prone to injury, and you probably shouldn't be pushing that weight at that many reps. Secondly, it's a diminishing return. If you're really pushing the envelope every time you're in the gym, you're going to increase your recovery time between workouts. You're going to decrease the amount of volume that you can push in your next workout, and we don't want that. So the idea is to have 48 hours in between every full body workout. So if you're doing 2 workouts a week, I would space it out. Example, Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday, you get it. If you're doing 3 full body workouts a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, something along those lines. This gives your body enough time to recover, restore all the muscle glycogen, and then really crush it on your next workout. In conjunction with leaving 2 reps in the tank, you know you will always be recovered. The big point of all this is that in any given week, you will get the maximum output in terms of volume. Total volume is the stimulus that determines how much you physiologically adapt week over week, month over month. So to keep it simple, let's say you have 1 chest day and that you hit bench for 225 4 times. Your total volume will actually be less than if you hit bench 3 days a week and you do 3 sets of 12 reps at 185. Leave your ego at the door. And again, You're not a power lifter. You're not a bodybuilder. So when it comes to reps and sets, how many should you be doing during each workout? For most people, 3 to 5 sets is wonderful. If you are getting less than 6 reps, most people would consider that strength training, which is not a bad thing. But here, for functionality and body composition, that's great all year round. We want to focus on hypertrophy, which would be 6 reps to 30 reps. Now, I know 6 seems low and 30 seems wild, and you're right. What seems to work well with the majority of people is having some variance in your repetitions throughout the week. For example, I will hit flat bench on Monday, and I will keep it 3 sets of 6. But then I'll do incline dumbbell press on Wednesday, and I will do 4 sets of 12. If you love doing a ton of reps, that's great. Just realize it's going to take more time. I think the real sweet spot is somewhere in 8 to 15. Personally, I like the 10 to 12 range. Should you have a pre-workout meal? Maybe. Personally, I can wake up, hit the gym, fasted, have a great output, have a massive post-workout meal, and feel great. Other people, not so much. If you do have a meal before your workout, make sure you have about 30 minutes. Make sure it's easily digestible and not that large. Leave the bulk of your daily intake for post-workout. Post-workout meals do not have to happen 15 minutes post-workout. In the first hour or two after activity is likely ideal. You can consume and digest a lot more protein than we've historically been led to believe. In fact, there is a new study where men who are active can consume and digest and absorb every single gram of over 100 grams of calories. Obviously, if you're large and you have a lot of muscle mass, or you have really intense workouts, that number probably goes up. And if you don't, it might be down a little bit. But the point is, it's going to be really difficult to overeat protein, especially if it's from whole foods. I'm going to do a different video on this, but I think protein from real food is much more beneficial than protein from protein shakes. In this case, if you're slamming a bunch of protein shakes right after a workout, that might not be the best choice, or really any time of day. If you're getting protein from real foods, it takes time for your body to digest it. So you'll absorb every single gram, no problem. The last thing that you should be doing is HIIT, or high intensity interval training. There are a lot of different opinions with this. What I've seen work best for most people is to get at least 1 HIIT training session in during a week. What does that look like? It does not have to be anything wild. 10 to 12 minutes with 30 to 60 seconds on and a minute to 2 minutes off would be great. Some movements that people like to do are sprints, burpees, jumping jacks, box jumps, squat jacks, whatever you want. Anything that's going to get the heart pumping and that you enjoy doing. After you've mastered doing 1 HIIT session a week, I would do 2. There's also something else called the Norwegian 4x4. I'm not going to go into it, but you should look it up. In conclusion, I want to summarize a few things and also add a few other nuggets we haven't gone over. Be careful who you emulate, because they might not have the same life or goals as you. Be sure to balance your stress, because stress is one of the biggest killers of natural testosterone, just health and body composition in general. Think 20% of the work for 80% of the results. And when it comes to getting the results you want, there is a minimum threshold and a maximum threshold. So minimum threshold would be 2 full body workouts that include push, pull, and leg movements each week, and 1 session of HIIT. The max, where you will get a ton of results, but then after that, the results might start to fall off, is 3 full body workouts, a push, pull, leg, compound multi-joint movements a week, and 2 sessions of HIIT / Norwegian 4x4. As always, if you are not doing the basics of diet and lifestyle, you should probably not be worrying about everything we're going over right now. The basics are eating whole foods, getting your circadian rhythm dialed in, managing your stress and balancing your life, supporting natural hormone production. And what's the why behind the why all this? It's important for you to know that you can have the best body, be in the best peak shape, be functionally healthy, and still have a thriving career, thriving relationships, a romantic partner who you adore. You can take care of children, animals, and be responsible for so much and not be overwhelmed. You can do it all. Just got to be very strategic about it. Share this video with somebody who might need to hear these things. For getting a jump start on optimizing your natural hormones, check out my free ebook. I'll see you next time in another controversial video.